Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the massive, complex software that runs the world's biggest companies. We're talking about that invisible architecture, the digital rules that decide who can do what, see what, and spend what. So let's dive in and take a look at the blueprint for this hidden world.
Just imagine for a second the absolute chaos. Your intern, maybe on their first day, accidentally approves a $10 million purchase order. A salesperson decides to just give themselves a raise. The entire company's financial data just out there for everyone to see. It would be total corporate anarchy, a complete meltdown of trust and control.
And that is exactly why enterprise software exists. It's not just about getting tasks done, it's about creating order. These systems build this meticulous, hidden world of rules, approvals, and permissions precisely to prevent that chaos. See, that's not a bug. It's the whole point. It's an elegant machine designed from the ground up for control.
So, how does this whole machine actually work? Well, it all starts with the most fundamental concept, access. You can think of it like a set of digital keys, where each one is designed to unlock very specific doors and actions inside the system.
First up, the user. This one's pretty simple. It's you. It's John Smith from accounting or Jane Doe from sales. A user is just any individual person with their own unique account who needs to do something in the system, whether that's creating a purchase request or just signing off on one.
Next, we've got the group. Now, this is a really crucial concept to get. A group isn't about who you are, it's all about what you do. It's basically a collection of users who all share the same job function, like invoice processors or contract managers. Think of it as a bucket for a specific role. And finally, we have the permission. These are the actual powers, the specific actions someone is allowed to take. And a permission isn't vague. It's a really specific function like create requisition or force cancel purchase order. These are basically the verbs of the system.
Okay, so this is where it all comes together. The core principle of pretty much all enterprise software security is this. Permissions are almost never given directly to a person. Instead, permissions are assigned to a group, and then people, the users, are placed into that group. So the system doesn't really care that you're John Smith. It only cares that you're in the purchasing agent group, which is what gives you the power to do a purchasing agent's job. This is what makes managing thousands of users not just possible, but actually manageable.
So if groups are the real foundation here, how are they built? Well, these systems usually come with a kind of standard blueprint, a set of predefined roles that are meant to mirror a typical company's structure.
It's actually a surprisingly simple formula. You just take an application area, so the department, like purchasing or invoicing, and you combine it with an access level, which defines how much power they have. The levels are typically user, agent, manager, and administrator. You just mix and match these two, and boom, you get your standard roles. And this table is a perfect illustration of what I'm talking about. In the purchasing department, a basic purchasing user can buy things for themselves. An agent has a bit more responsibility. They act as a buyer for other people. But a purchasing manager, now they have supervisory powers. They can actually go in and change or even cancel someone else's order. Each level you go up grants a whole new, pretty significant set of capabilities. And then you get to the highest level. The actual documentation for the purchasing administrator group has this warning: grant with extreme caution. And why? Because this role can literally remove approvals from the workflow. Just bypass the whole system. The big takeaway here is that these aren't just fancy titles. They carry real and sometimes pretty risky authority in the digital world. Okay, so we've covered who can do what, but what's just as important is who can see what. See, control isn't just about actions. It's about visibility. You definitely don't want the marketing team in Germany seeing the R&D invoices from the team over in California. The main tool for doing this is something called a purchasing unit. The easiest way to think about it is like a digital wall. It's a way to partition the entire system, separating both the users and all their data into different buckets based on things like their department, physical location, or which business unit they belong to. And these units are incredibly powerful. First, they control who can see what transactions. A user in Unit A literally cannot find a document from Unit B. It's invisible to them. They also make sure approval workflows are logical. A request from the French office goes to a French manager, not some random manager in Texas. At the end of the day, they impose a real-world structure on the digital world to make sure there's clear accountability. Now, beyond the basics of users, groups, and these digital boundaries, big organizations need even more sophisticated tools. So let's look at a few of the advanced rules that really add the finishing touches to this whole system of control. One of the most important tricks is this concept of parent/child groups. It's a really simple but absolutely brilliant idea for efficiency. You can create a new child group that automatically inherits every single permission from its parent.
So here's how that works in practice. Let's say you have your standard purchasing manager group with all its powers. Then you realize you need a special group just for the Acme division. Well, instead of rebuilding it all from scratch, you just create a child group called Acme Division Buyer and link it to the parent. It instantly gets all the manager permissions, and then you can just add any extra unique permissions it might need on top. So much faster.
Now, kind of counterintuitively, there's another type of group that grants exactly 0 permissions. It's called a custom group. So what's the point? Well, their entire purpose is to act as a label, a tag for routing approvals or triggering custom bits of logic. Think of them as signposts, not as keys. The system also lets you get incredibly specific with these rules. For instance, you can put someone in a no ad hoc item group, and they're physically blocked from buying anything that isn't from a pre-approved catalog. Or maybe you can assign a busy executive to the no escalation group, so their approvals don't automatically get forwarded if they take too long. There's even a finance group that acts as the final safety net if a massive purchase order exceeds everyone else's approval limit. So we've looked at users, groups, permissions, boundaries, all these special rules. When you step back, you can start to see how all these individual pieces layer on top of each other to build something that's really coherent and incredibly powerful.
And the ultimate takeaway here is this. None of this is random. This complex web of rules is the deliberate architecture of a functioning modern company. It's how a global corporation makes sure that the right people can do their jobs effectively, while at the same time protecting the business from catastrophic errors or even fraud. You could call it a system of engineered trust.
Which brings us right back to you. The next time you try to do something at work and that system pops up with access denied, try not to get frustrated. Just remember that you aren't just being blocked for no reason. You're a specific node in a massive, carefully constructed digital universe, and your permissions are what define your place within it.
And that leaves us with one last thing to chew on. In today's digitally driven workplace, where your power and what you can see are defined by the groups you're assigned to, which one is your real job title? The one on your business card, or the one that actually defines what you can do?